All right, guys, I hope you're having a really great week. We are going to do another Fun Friday cooking today. And today I thought we would make some cereal bars. So this is a really easy cereal bar recipe that you can use for a snack while you're at home. All we need is some honey, some peanut butter or almond butter, and some Cheerios. All right, so before we get started, I am gonna go wash my hands really well with soap and water. We all know how important that is, especially right now. Just making sure our hands are really clean. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I'm gonna come back and we will start the recipe. All right, guys, so now that my hands are super clean, I am gonna start by just spraying this pan with some cooking oil so that my mixture does not stick. So I'm gonna turn this so you guys can see what I'm doing every step of the way. Let's see, okay, that looks good. All right, so first thing, I'm just gonna spray my pan lightly. And then I'm going to start the mixture. So the first ingredients that we need to put into this bowl are some honey and some peanut butter, and we're actually gonna heat these up after. So what I need is a 1/2 cup measure. So this measuring cup is 1 cup. I only need a 1/2 cup. So 2 1/2 cups go into 1 whole cup. A half would be right down the middle of this line, but I also have this cup that tells me that it's a 1/2 cup. And to find that out, you can look and you see right on the measuring cup, it tells me 1/2. So it's a 1 and then a slash and then a 2, and that's my 1/2 cup. So I'm gonna do 1/2 cup of peanut butter and then 1/2 cup of honey. So I'm gonna start with my honey, and I am gonna fill this whole measuring cup up. So a lot of honey is gonna go into these, but that's what's gonna make the Oreos stick together. Got to squeeze really hard to get the honey out. All right, that looks perfect. So I'm all the way to the top with my honey. You can see, if I turn it too much, it's gonna spill. But I want it right flat at the top, okay? If you can still see a rim, that's not enough honey. You wanna fill it up all the way. So now I'm gonna drop this into the bowl. I'm gonna use a knife to scrape it out. Make sure I get all that honey. That looks perfect. Okay, now that we've got that, I'm gonna set my knife right here in case I need it for the peanut butter. And then the next thing, I'm gonna use the same measuring cup, and I am going to put a 1/2 cup of peanut butter in it. So I'm gonna move this aside, and you can watch me scrape out my peanut butter. So my peanut butter is a little low, so I may have to mix it with some almond butter, but I'm sure that would be just as tasty. So I'm just gonna fill this 1/2 cup up. When I bought this for the recipe, I had plenty, but apparently we've been eating a lot of peanut butter around here. All right, a little bit more. We're very close to a 1/2 cup. I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more out of here so that I don't have to use the almond butter. And I'm a little bit short, so I am gonna have to use a little bit of almond butter for my 1/2 cup, just a little bit. And like I said, if you don't like peanut butter or if someone has a peanut allergy, you can definitely just use almond butter for the entire recipe. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna flatten it out. So I'm gonna make sure I have enough. And when I do that, I can see that this is completely full to the top. And now I'm gonna drop that into my bowl. All right, so the next step we need to do is we need to heat it up. That's gonna make it a little more sticky and a little easier to work with the Cheerios. All right, so I'm gonna pause this video and I'm gonna throw this into the microwave, and then when I come back, I'm gonna talk about how long I microwaved it for, and I'm gonna show you guys the next step. All right, guys, now that my peanut butter and my honey is done microwaving, you can see it's gonna be a lot easier to mix. I did about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I did 30 seconds and then I put it on for another minute. So maybe break it up 45 seconds, check it, and then do another 45 seconds. All right, so now I need to add the Cheerios. So I'm gonna angle this again so you can see my bowl. All right, I am gonna scoop in 3 cups of Cheerio into another bowl. So I have this bowl right here ready to go. And I'm gonna quickly, this is a full cup of Cheerios. And now we are using the 1 cup measure instead of the half cup. So you can see this one's a little bit bigger. It's actually twice as big as the half cup. So I'm gonna do 3. So there's 1, 2, 3 cups of Cheerios. All right. So now I'm going to take my wooden spoon here, or just any large spoon, and I'm going to scrape all of this into the mixture. All the honey and the peanut butter and the almond butter. I'm going to try to get as much of this out as I can. All right, now I'm going to stir this together the best I can. And so the honey and peanut butter is still warm. If you don't do the microwave step, it's really, really hard for it to mix together. Once it cools, it'll become hard and the Oreos will stick, and that's when you can make your bars out of it. So this is actually really, really easy to stir around. So make sure you coat every little last Cheerio with the peanut butter and the honey. These are looking really good. I cannot wait to eat them. They're definitely going to be a good snack to have around right now. All right, so I see a little bit more on the bottom, so I'm going to do a couple more stirs. And if you at home are working on counting, you can definitely count how many stirs it takes you to fully mix the mixture. That looks really, really good. Do you guys see how mixed up that is? I don't have any honey or peanut butter on the bottom. All right, so back to my pan. Place that there. And we are just gonna spread our mixture into the pan. All right, get it all in there. Looks pretty good. Okay, I did get a spatula. This really helps with some of the sticky stuff that we're using. So I'm gonna use this to kind of scrape off my spoon so we don't miss any of our mixture. All right, and get every last little Cheerio out and put it in my pan. Oh, we lost one. That's okay. All right, so now you're just gonna spread it out to the bottom of the pan. You wanna use a relatively small pan. This isn't a huge recipe, so anything bigger than this pan here would probably be too big. You can also use a glass dish if you would like, or just spread it out onto some parchment paper. That should work as well. All right, so that looks, I'm gonna flatten it out. Do you see how I'm kind of using my hand to run the spatula across the Cheerios? That's gonna help flatten it. So I don't want any space in between. So I'm trying to really flatten it out. And your mom and dad can help you with some of this stirring and some of these techniques that I'm using to kind of smush them down a little bit. Okay, and you don't want to go too hard because I don't want to have my Oreos in little tiny pieces. I want them to try, or not Oreos, Cheerios. I want them to stay intact. I don't want to smash them. I'm kind of just gently spreading them out. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. I am super excited. All right, guys, so one last step in this is we have to wait, which I know is a really hard thing sometimes to do, but we need to put a timer on for about an hour, put them into the fridge, let them cool, and then we can cut them into bars. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys what they look like. All right, so now that they've been in the fridge for about an hour, they are now really, really hard and stuck in there. So now I'm gonna cut them into little squares. So I'm gonna lean this forward so you guys can see. And and I'm just gonna make them into bars. So I'm just gonna cut, just need a butter knife all the way across. And then cut another line. They're really crunchy now. And I'm just gonna keep cutting them into little bars. So I'm gonna take one out. And so now they're hard and stuck together and ready to eat. All right, you guys, I hope you have a good rest of your week and a great weekend, and I will see you guys later.